Hi everyone, my name is Alina and today I'm gonna speak a bit about how did I start my own business and how did I manage to quit my 9 to 6 job and randomly beginning my own project. So I grew up in Portugal, Lisbon, and here it's very common for people and young individuals to follow a career path that our parents and our society dictates, which usually is working for someone else. So basically when you're at school, you're taught that you have to kind of have good grades, and then you have to pick a good university that can provide you a good profession, and then afterwards you can find an amazing work that will help you to have a stable life, and at a certain point maybe to get a house, a debt for the house, and kind of your life is settled until you're fired, which can actually happen. And many people in Portugal even wait for the company to fire them, because then they receive kind of indemnization, some money that they can have for like to start a new job and maybe to go for holidays or something like that. But that was not something that I considered for myself, because I was very self-conscious about my opinions on how I want to live this life, and that I don't want to be working regular fixed hours and then, you know, feel that I want my money at the end of the month and that's it. That's the most important thing for you. And I decided that I will try. I will do what society told me to do. So I will finish my degree, which was in finance, and of course it's a good possibility for you to make some money, because you know finance is what gives you the ability of grow in the company, and then kind of you start with a very little money, like 1,000 euros per month, and then you can expect to have 2,000 and maybe 3,000, and that's it, kind of, unless you are a CFO of the company, which then of course you can rock. But basically I decided to do that. I started to work in a company. I was quite successful in that company. I was feeling happy at first, and I was contributing. I was learning a lot. I was doing FP&A, which is like financial planning and analysis for a certain company, and it was amazing. But maybe 3 years after, I understood that it's too much for me and that I'm not interested anymore, because it's just numbers. You reach like a point where either you find a new job and you keep in your career, or then it's a stagnation, that you're like, okay, you're very comfortable here, you receive your money, it's a good salary, but you don't learn much. You are just doing something like day after day, the same thing. And that's when I thought, okay, maybe I want to retire already, but how can I retire when I'm 23 years old or 24? That was the big question. And then I started to think of side hustles, like what can I do to start something, like to have side money that is being generated for me while I'm doing something else. So me being a girl that was raised in Portugal, but originally from Ukraine, I had something very good in my sleeves, which was I knew Ukrainian and Portuguese at the same time. Therefore, I started to give some classes to people during Saturdays. I was teaching even Portuguese kids, helping them with homework that they got from school, and then some Ukrainian people. And I think the most something that totally changed my mind was when the war in Ukraine started, because I remember thinking, like, in the next day, how can I help these people? What can I do? We went to protests and stuff, but was it really enough? And then to my mind came an idea that I can get a few people and help them, a few Ukrainians who were relocating from Ukraine, help them like getting along in Portugal and learn the language. And I published a post in Facebook which got super viral, and I've got like many people sending me DMs that they want to learn Portuguese for free. Of course, that was my idea. And then I understood, okay, I cannot just like select 1 or 2 people. How can I do that if in my DMs I have like 100 people waiting for a response? And then an idea of creating a project that was a voluntary project at first to help Ukrainians integrate into Portuguese society. And we've got, first we collected like 400 enrollments to the course, and then we've got like to think about people who are gonna teach, because it could not be me. I had my full-time job and it was like too complicated for me to find time for these big classes. And we found volunteers, Portuguese volunteers, who were ready to give those lessons. And managing that project, it was like amazing for me. I was super excited about it. I remember working a full-time job and then coming home and feeling that now I'm doing something for my heart and for my soul. And that was the time when I thought, okay, this is what gives me positive energy and positive vibes, and that's what I want to do, and not just being with numbers and like, you know, all day in Excel sheets. And then in these classes and organizing that project, I was having a complete understanding that these people need me, and we are doing something that really changed their lives and can help them to create and start from the beginning in the new country. So with that, the project lasted for 1 year. We've got 18 groups of people online, and at the same time 2 offline. The offline were taught by me in a school, and then I thought, okay, I want to do this more. And I started my own Instagram page, where first it was actually Facebook. So I created a Facebook page and I started to publish stuff there about language and some quick videos. And it became like, not say popular, but for me back then, when you have 30 likes, it's super popular. So I became popular, okay? And then I created Instagram and I started to work on that page. First, I remember being very scared, like, who is gonna watch me? Does it make sense for people to visit my page and to follow me for something that I'm giving them? And the answer was amazing, because it was like practical. So after the first day, I think I've got around 20 or 30 followers, and then like in the next day, it doubled, and then it started like to grow kind of exponentially. And that's how it all began. That's how it all began. So my first money, because it's all nice to have a few followers and stuff, but like, how do you make money with that? So I started to offer classes, and I was doing like small groups for different levels, A1, A2, people for like that had no experience at all in Portuguese language. And I saw that it got like a lot of enrollments. And that's how I made my first 1,000 euros from Instagram. And I remember that amount of money came to me in one day. It was one family that decided to enroll for a few months. It was like a course that lasted for 3 months, and therefore it was like 1,000 euros. And I remember when I got that amount in my card, I was like, wow, like, is it even like possible? And it was nice, because like you start to getting more confidence, you have this possibility of being more creative, because you can create content in the page, and then also for the courses, the presentations that I was developing, all of that was giving me this fulfillment. And then something that started as a like side interest, a hobby, became my main project. Not the time it was taking me, consuming through the week, because of course I was still working full-time, but more like the energy I was giving into it and I was investing. And I remember that I started to think about quitting my other job, and it was a risk, because when you quit, mean, if you don't have any money, like it's up to you and you need to figure it out. And I had debt to pay, the house that I'm paying, and it was a bit stressful. But I remember the day I sent an email to my company and saying that, okay, I want to quit. And at the same time, it was a relief, but scared and like, oof, I'm even getting nervous when I'm speaking about it and when I'm remembering those times. So yeah, basically that's how it worked. After delivering my notice that I want to quit the job, I started to think, oh gosh, but what if this doesn't work? And what if like I will have to come back in a few years? But then, you know, the market is developing all the time and people like they're also gaining new skills. And me, instead of gaining new skills in finance, I would like be totally like zeroed because I would go back in my skills, because now when I open Excel, I was a pro in Excel. Now I'm not a pro in Excel anymore. I already forgot half of the things I was doing there before. And I was very scared that if this doesn't work, how can I restart my life, you know? But, you know, in Portuguese we say, quem não arrisca não petisca. If you don't do it, if you don't try it, you will never know. And yeah, I'm super glad that I did that step. I made it, and now we are a big team of more than 12 people. We are teachers, we have content creators in the team, we have managers, administrators, and it's really like, you know, I'm creating my own surroundings, my own team with people that I really like. So I don't need to work with someone that don't make me feel well or comfortable, and it's a big plus. And I'm still making money. If you want to start something, don't think too much, just do it. I think that's like the biggest lesson I learned from my experience. Because when you think too much, you will always find reasons why not going ahead and why not like following your dreams. So just do it, and then if it doesn't work out, you can always restart. But I'm sure it will work out.